Hi, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about this book, which is Making More Milk by Lisa Marasco and Diana West. It's like the go-to textbook / manual for low milk supply and looking at all the reasons why this might happen and how best to work with it and what to do about it. So it's got really broad-ranging topics, and it goes from like, did you get off to a bad start with breastfeeding, or could it be something physiological about you, or could it be something about the baby, and could it be hormones causing the problem, or something about your anatomy, and then different problem solving, like different techniques and tactics for feeding babies, looking at galactagogues, which means foods and herbs and medicines for boosting milk supply, looking at pumping techniques, or the whole picture. And one of my clients in the week, who's been working really hard on her breast milk supply, I was speaking with her in the week and she told me that she's actually bought and read the whole book, which I was really impressed with. I did an educational book club on this book a couple of years ago, I think, with other lactation professionals. So my copy is kind of dog-eared and covered in little pencil marks. But one of my favourite chapters, which I wanted to find, chapter 18 is right near the end of the book, and it's called Coping with Low Milk Supply. And it has a section in the back of it written by mums who have really struggled with low milk supply. And it's suggestions of what things people might say to them and mentioning what people sometimes say which isn't helpful. And I thought it was really useful because I think there's parts of this that can be applied to all areas of life. And because when we are really struggling with something, with investing a lot of our time and energy to improve it, it's very common that people will come along and say something like, well, just give formula, it will do no harm. And while I actually do think it's always valuable to reflect upon, is it worth keeping going? Does it feel worth it? It's always good to have those conversations where you sit back and think, do I want to keep trying? Is it time to move away from trying to breastfeed? Or have I found sufficiency with my milk supply? I also think it's super helpful to hear these lovely positive replies and encouragement, which this bit of this book is about. So, sorry, I'm not the most fluid of readers. I'll try and read a bit of it. It says, instead of saying, as long as you're happy, I'm fine with formula, tell me, I am proud of any milk that you can give our baby. If your loved one was training for a marathon and they had a bad day, you wouldn't tell them it was okay to quit. You would encourage them to keep up the good work and that they're doing a great job and that every baby step is worth the effort. Do the same thing with breastfeeding. Please tell me that every single drop of milk I have provided is doing wonders for that beautiful little human. Tell me over and over that I am doing a good job, I am enough. Tell me how much you love me and how lucky the baby is that I'm her mum. Tell me I'm not broken. It's very beautiful. Every breastfeeding journey is different. Just because it's not easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for me. Sorry, just because it was easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for me. Or just because you chose to stop trying when you struggled with low milk supply doesn't mean that I have to too. Let me decide how to handle my own breastfeeding journey. Allow me to spend as much time as I need to trying to get it as right as possible. Please don't say things like, you take up so much time pumping, etc. Why don't you switch to formula? The effort that we low supply mothers put in is usually so monumental, it's very disheartening to hear that it is not appreciated or understood by the father or the family. So there's a little nugget for you this rainy Saturday afternoon. I really like that. I think that's a super useful piece of the chapter and the piece of chapter 18. And I really love the fact that this book is not just about how best to build milk supply. It's got this whole chapter at the end about coping with the current situation. And it's divided into sections such as feeling grief, feeling guilt or regret, feeling envy, anger or resentment, feeling like a failure, feeling rejected by your baby, feeling selfish for wanting to breastfeed, feeling judgmental of others, feeling hurt by insensitive remarks or criticism, feeling lonely. I think it's just super helpful to think about all those things. And that's one of the reasons this is such a go-to book for me.